Hi, I'm Steve Schwarzman. I want to share with you some of the things I've learned along the way on what's been a fascinating journey, which still has a ways to go. If you're thinking about dedicating your life to something, you have to have a visualization of what you want to be doing. Because if the only thing you do is what everybody else is doing, you won't be able to create something that's unique. I always felt that somebody was only capable of one super effort to create something that can really be consequential. There's so many impediments to being successful. If you're on the field, you're there to win. And to win requires an enormous amount of practice, pushing yourself really to the breaking point. And you learn typically by something going wrong where you haven't, plugged a hole you didn't know existed. And setbacks are terrible, but they also are great teachers. You have to start with a really big dream and break it down to what does it take to accomplish that. I was interviewing for my first job, and the interviewer asked me what I wanted to be. And I told him I wanted to be a telephone switchboard, not the operator. I wanted to be the system. That is what I do. I get all these inputs, they go in my head, and I move them around, and there's always something in that stream of data that just doesn't make sense. And if I see another piece of inconsistent information, then you can sync them up. And those 2 points can make a straight line. And you just have to figure out where that line is taking you. When Pete Peterson and I decided to go into business together and we formed our new company, we started with not much, pretty much a blank piece of paper. So we met every morning for coffee and breakfast. And Pete was a very good strategic planner. He said, what are we going to do? And we focused on what could we do that was unique. And at that time, unbelievably, there were no merger and acquisition boutiques. Nobody did it. So we constructed something that was different than existed in finance, and we're still executing the same strategic plan. We didn't come up with a new concept other than executing what we started. The first thing I did when we started Blackstone, I know this will sound odd, I hired a graphic design firm to design our logo and our stationery, because I felt that the way we presented ourselves was all important. Your brand, your name, the way things look, say something. I wanted to make sure that every hire was, to the extent that it was appropriate, noteworthy, because we were building a brand with every hire. And every decision that we make at the firm, I put through the same sieve. Is this good for the brand? If it's bad, we never make that decision. This is really simple. You only want to be doing really good things every time you have an opportunity to make a decision. And when people encounter you and that brand, then they're going to expect good things to happen. We had an investment, it was the third investment in the firm's history. It was called Edgecombe Steel. I had never made investments, and I didn't even know there were things like investment committees, and people just lined up at my desk. And I made a mistake, and we basically lost our original investment value. I had one of our investors asked me to see them, and I sat down and he started screaming at me, and I thought at the time I was sort of shocked, but then I said, that's completely fair. It was his money that was lost, and I was responsible. So his teeing off on me was horrible, and I almost cried at the meeting, but I sucked it up and I said, I've just got to take these beatings, and I left that office, and it was fall and the leaves were coming down, and it was a sunny day and the sun was bouncing off the water coming my way, and I looked at this miserable, grisly experience, and I said, this can never happen again. And since that time, we changed all our processes. What we do is vigorously debate this stuff that's on the table, trying to de-risk, complex situations by talking about aspects of them that could get us into real trouble. If there's any genius at Blackstone, it's coming up with that structure where you can say anything that's fact-based to get to a logical answer without it being personal. In terms of my leadership style, I've actually gotten a lot better. I would give myself somewhere between a C and a D as an executive when I started the firm. And what I learned is enormous number of lessons. First, you have to be very gentle around people. If you're in a leadership position, people overhear or amplify what you're saying. So you have to be very careful what you say and how you say it. You always have to listen to what other people have to say. I genuinely want to know what everybody else thinks, because more people thinking about something gets you a better answer, a more informed, more nuanced understanding of a situation. And you never criticize anybody in front of a group. You can do that privately afterwards, but you never want to embarrass anyone. We believe in high levels of integrity, nice people, and very hard work. Part of the leader's job is to communicate what the values and the culture of the organization have to be. And when I'm sitting up on the stage and I look around the room at all these astonishing people and how great they are, and I sort of go, wow, what a journey. We started with no one. See the people at a Monday morning meeting discussing something, and I realize that we've created sort of a remarkable, enduring culture. And I go, wow, that's pretty amazing.